Some people have come to me asking, hey, I know a friend or family member, they're suffering from symptoms related to, having had COVID. They call it the long haul syndrome. Now, just so you know, that is not actually a formal medical diagnosis, but there are a constellation of symptoms, and you can use phototherapy patches to help alleviate some of those symptoms. So I thought I would do a little video here, just sharing with you a couple of protocols that I created related to this. Now, the caveat is that I don't want you to think about this protocol as the recipe book, for COVID long haul syndrome. No, no, no. What it is giving you some principles of the points, acupuncture points that I would use with which patch, so you can have an idea of how things can work. And so I always tell people, do what works and stop doing what doesn't work. So if you have these symptoms and one of these protocols work for you, awesome. You can use that every day, every other day, whatever, until you feel better. On the other hand, if it doesn't work and then you try the other one, it doesn't work, well, you know what, then it's not for you, or at least not the way that I presented it. So there are so many different ways of using phototherapy patches, different combinations, different acupuncture points. This is by far not exhaustive, okay? So that's the disclaimer. We are not curing, treating, preventing, or mitigating any disease or medical condition. What we're doing is taking a look at some of the symptoms that people have and then addressing those symptoms with some of the phototherapy patches that can help with those symptoms. And then I'm going to give you 2 advanced protocols that you can try if you happen to have had those symptoms. And these protocols are more complex than what's in the brochure because we're working on multiple symptoms at the same time. And like I said, it's not written in stone, so you can tweak it a little bit. Try what works, right? So I'm going to show some slides here. Oh, thank you, Liz. Liz says she likes my haircut. I like my haircut too. Hi, Carla. All right, so when I'm showing the slides, I won't be able to see you guys. But let's go ahead and share my screen here. Hey, Colleen. Okay. So according to the CDC, the Center for Disease Control here in America, the most common lasting symptoms from having a COVID infection are fatigue, shortness of breath, cough, joint pain, chest pain, cognitive problems. That means brain fog, like just not able to process very well, difficulty concentrating, depression, muscle pain, headache, rapid heartbeat, and intermittent fever. I know that's a lot of symptoms, right? So I want to go through each of these a little bit and put my, holistic medical doctor hat on just for a moment, acupuncturist hat on just for a moment, so that I can explain some of these symptoms. Now, fatigue is probably, if not the number one most common symptom. My take on this is that people assume that the virus or whatever they went through caused the fatigue, okay? But I'm going to ask you this. Why is it that there are so many people who are literally asymptomatic, okay, and they have the virus, or have very little symptoms? Like they may have, a cough for a few days and little low-grade fever, and then they're done, right? And they don't get into this fatigue, this long haul. So from my training in medical acupuncture, what we understand is if your chi and your energy levels are low to begin with, then you're probably much more at risk for having fatigue. It's sort of like when your battery is not fully charged, and say it's 30% charged and you think it's great, okay? But when it dips down to 20 after having COVID, oh, now you feel it, right? So maybe that's not the best analogy, but here's the thing. I can bet you dollars to donuts, and I guess you get free donuts now when you get the job. Anyway, I bet you dollars to donuts that anybody that has that long haul fatigue, okay, would admit that they had significant stress in their life before they got that. And usually years of stress before they. So what happens with stress? Stress, it basically drains your energy. It drains your battery. I know, because I was there. I used to have chronic fatigue syndrome, okay? Fibromyalgia, that was me before. I used to be the Energizer Bunny, and then I got fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, and then I became the Energizer Bunny again. How cool is that? Okay, so I just want to explain the fatigue. So think about battery being empty, because the patches we're going to use, I'm going to explain to you why I'm choosing the patches that I choose, right? So shortness of breath, cough, okay, chest pain. So that's in this area, right? So we want to pay attention to this lung chest area. I'm doing a lot of other therapies right now that are manual therapies and learning a lot about how the diaphragm and rib cage health and flexibility are so important. And the strength of the diaphragm has basically gone kaput for most of us unless we train it. Yeah, it's a muscle like any other muscle. Well, we're not going to talk more about the diaphragm today, but just so you know that there are ways in which you can shift how you're breathing by releasing some of the tight fascia around this area and exercising your diaphragm appropriately. Okay, so cognitive problems, brain issues. A lot of that, I believe, is due to low qi, so low energy. Same thing with difficulty concentrating. You just don't have the juice, you know? The brain uses a lot of energy, as you can imagine. So you can't. So I see people with adrenal fatigue, for many, many, many years, right? Having had it, right? I know a lot about it. And this is what we would see. We would see chronic fatigue. We would see cognitive problems, difficulty concentrating, depression. And the funny thing is depression, you think it's a serotonin deficiency. Not necessarily. Depression can be from the low qi, the low energy. And the energy is like, not flowing. Muscle pain often is from lymphatic congestion, especially when it's all over the place. I used to have that, fibromyalgia. Headache often can be when there's stuck energy in the head, area. Rapid heartbeat, that's really, really interesting because, like what is it about? Is it a blood, some people feel it's a blood disorder, not really a respiratory per se disorder. It's super interesting. So I don't think we know all the information yet. But in Chinese medicine, if you have a rapid heartbeat, that means your qi is low and is not anchored down, like there's no grounding for it. And intermittent fever, so that would be your yang energy is not anchored by the yin energy. So I'm simplifying Chinese medicine down to like a few sentences, okay? So, if you're a Chinese medicine expert, just try not to laugh. I'm doing the best I can. All right, so let's get to some of these protocols. So this one I call the restoration protocol number 1. It's focusing on increasing energy, supporting the immune system, supporting the brain, and alleviating some of the symptoms of a fever. Now, fever, especially if it's short term, is usually really a good thing because you want to kill the infection and the fever helps you kill the infection. But if it gets really high, 101, not so bad, depending on what age you are, but if it gets 102, 3, 4, right, 5, then it gets pretty uncomfortable. So then we have to release some heat. So let's start with the image on the left. So our anchor here is energy enhancer patches, white on right, tan on left, on the bottom of the feet on kidney 1. So I have a plastic foot here. So it is on the bottom of this foot, white on right, tan on left. And kidney 1 is very good as a energy charge point. So that's why we're using kidney 1. The other reason I'm using kidney 1 is sometimes when people have fever, their some of the yang goes up. And what we're trying to do is support the yin, which is kidney channel, and also kind of pull some of that energy throughout the body. And so it doesn't get stuck up here. Now let's go up a little bit more. Here we've got on CV or conception vessel 6, which is an energy storage point, very important for energy. I've got X39, which is our stem cell enhancing patch. Now the stem cell patch can, pretty much go anywhere, but this is one of the points in the brochure, so I kept that there. So CV6, X39, and then here we've got it kind of in the upper chest area, so not in between the boobs, which is CV17, but more like CV19. So it's about 1/3 of the way down the breastbone, and your thymus is one of your immune glands, is underneath the breastbone. So glutathione is known to support the immune system, also detoxify the body, and help to regenerate your antioxidants, such as vitamin A, C, and E. So glutathione can be really helpful in this space. Now, what's really important for everyone to know is make sure you drink enough water. Okay, so a few sips here and there, multiple times throughout an hour, throughout the day, right? It's better than doing 8 ounces all at once. So just an ounce here and there, just keep going, trickle it in. So let's go to the right image here. And I've got the Eon patch behind the neck. Now this drawing has hair, so behind the skull, when you go down the center, there's a bone sticking out. This is in the brochure of the X39, but we're using Eon here. And this point, GV, or governor vessel 14, does help to release excess heat from the upper part of the body. Again, I'm simplifying Chinese medicine down to just one or two things, but just bear with me here. So it also connects all the yang meridians of the body and the upper body. So this is a really handy point for two reasons. One, Eon, we know, decreases stress and it decreases inflammation and heat, right? So if you got fever, this may be really, really helpful point. And also if you have neck pain or neck congestion or headache, this could be a point as well to release some of that tension in this area. And also support the brain, because I really love my Eon patches for stress relief and brain balancing. And then last but not least, we have another set of energy enhancer patches, and this time we're using it on triple burner 5. So this is 3 finger widths from the wrist crease in between the two bones, the radius and the ulna. And white arm right, hand on left. And the reason we're using triple burner 5, a couple of reasons. One is we want to double patch the energy enhancer patches to get the person feeling better as quickly as possible. So in emergencies, sometimes we will use double energy enhancer patches. This is optional, but I highly recommend it if you're really down and out and fatigued, okay? Your job is to drink water and put your patches on. So this point, triple burner 5, is also helpful to reinforce the Wei Qi field, which is the energetic immune system. In Chinese medicine, if you get too much heat, too much wind, too much damp, they are called pernicious influences, and they can actually cause you to be sick in Western medicine. So excess wind could cause stiffness in the neck, and you come down with a cold, for example. So this is really helpful to support that Wei Qi field, white on right, tan on left. So let's go to the next protocol that I created. I'm calling this the Restoration Protocol 2. So again, we're focused on energy because energy is very, very important. Without enough energy, nothing really happens, right? Makes sense? It's like not having gas for your car. You can have the perfect car, but nothing moves if you have no gas. So this one also may be helpful for pain because we have the ice wave in this particular protocol. In addition to X39. And then we have a focus on lungs, heart, and then brain, again, brain. Now I put a different point for the brain, but we'll get to that in a moment and I'll tell you why. So the X39, in this case, still center line, we're using it between the nipples. So if you poke down your breastbone, okay, look for a sore spot around between the nipples. Sometimes easier on guys than on girls for obvious reasons. I won't say what it is. And that point can open up that entire chest area, like open up it energetically so you can breathe better. It's right over your heart, so it supports the heart as well, that point CV17. And also to support the heart, this is for people that have skipped beats or they're kind of weak and thready pulse, irritable pulse. You can use energy enhancer patches on your wrist. Now, in this case, instead of the outside, we're using the inside of the wrist, and that's called pericardium 6. You find it similarly, 3 finger widths down from the crease in the center line between the radius and ulna, white on right, tan on left with energy enhancer patches, and that in the clinical studies that LifeWave has done, we know that energy enhancer patches over this point really helps protect healthier heart rhythm. Now, what do we have in the bottom of the feet? Instead of energy enhancer patches, we're going to focus on pain relief. Remember those people that have pain all over, that muscle aches? This may be really helpful. This is the whole body pain point protocol. The ice wave on the bottom of the feet, white on right, tan on left. You're doing energy enhancer patches on the upper, white on right, tan on left, but you're doing ice wave on the bottom of the feet, this time, white on right, tan on left, for that whole body pain treatment. And then the Eon patch, this is still a brain balancing point, which is behind the right ear on the mastoid bone. But if you're having fever, you can also put it at the back of the neck, right, to clear heat. So this is very flexible. If someone does not have a lot of fever or does not have a lot of head pain, but they're really down and depressed, right, You could use it on GD20, which is at the top of your head. If you make an imaginary line between the tops of your ears, this actually helps to raise the awakeness of someone. And if they're depressed or their mood is low, this acupuncture point can help them raise their energy so they feel better. So this next one here is just a picture of kidney 1, where it is, white on right, tan on left. Remember, on the first protocol, you're using energy enhancer patches. The second one, use the ice wave. I'm going to tell you a hint. It doesn't really matter how you mix and match these points, okay? As long as you know the basic principles, what each of these patches do. Eon for stress and inflammation, ice wave for pain, energy for obviously energy, X39, body repair, right? Stem cells, glutathione, immune support, antioxidant support. So when you know these basic principles, you can see how this can be really, really helpful. And the really cool thing too, I don't know if you've noticed, if you've been following me for a while, you'll know this already, is that if you take a look at where the patches are in this photo and you draw lines between the patches, guess what you get? Triangles, lots and lots of triangles. And these triangles are pretty big because the patches are far away from each other. The bigger the triangle, the bigger the sacred geometric shape and coherence of the energies flowing in these, you know, if you can imagine torus or rotating, they're not really triangles, actually like more like pyramids. And so that can really help the strength and coherence of the energy body. Same thing with the protocol number 2. Again, we're making triangles on purpose to amplify beyond what's the acupuncture point, to amplify your body's energy field to get you stronger, right? So again, just to repeat, this is not the be all and end all of, you know, the symptom control for COVID-19 long haul. These are just suggestions. You know, try them out. They're very, very safe to do. Remember to drink lots of water. And if you are brand new to LifeWave and you've never used phototherapy patches before, you might want to try one patch at a time and just add on slowly over a week or 2. So you're not all of a sudden having 5 or 6 patches on at the same time, which can detoxify someone fairly rapidly. But for those of you that have been using LifeWave patches for a while, this protocol or these protocols would probably be right up your alley and really helpful. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen here and get back to here. I feel like I missed so much already, only 16 minutes in. I understand. Okay. Karen says, picture not very clear. Well, hopefully the slideshow, well, we'll see what the recording looks like. You can put that bigger on your screen. Okay, let's see if there's any other questions. I don't see any questions live at the moment. But anyway, so this can be really helpful if you, you know, are working with an independent distributor. You can ask them about how you can get these patches, and you can even get them wholesale. If you're not working with anybody, you can contact me or, you know, on my website, patchtrainingteam.com, and book a call with one of my team members, and they can see how they can get you some patches as well. So, okay, so on YouTube, so these patches are like mini orgonite coils that trap and focus energy. No, not really. Yeah, so these phototherapy patches do have crystals within them. It's a trade secret how they are made. They resonate at biological frequencies, which is very interesting because think about it. And I'm just giving you an example. An amethyst, that is not a biological frequency, okay? These are biological frequencies. It tells your body what to do. So the Eon patch helps your cortisol levels be more even, and helps hormonal balance. It decreases inflammation. We have other videos that kind of, you know, in trainings that show this. The glutathione patches literally, like software, tell the human body to make more glutathione. This, see, orgonite and, you know, crystals and even acupuncture needles. The acupuncture needles work not because of the needle, but because of the point they stimulate. So we're using the technology of Chinese medicine with the technology of these modern non-transdermal patches. Nothing goes through the skin. You can even use them on top of clothing or a hat or something like that. They still work. But they resonate biological frequencies. So it's like software for the human body, telling your human body, hey, get younger. You know, do this again like you did when you were 5, you know? And that's the nice thing about the stem cell enhancing patches. That alone is so incredible. Like if you were just to pick one, just pick that one, you know? The X39 elevates copper peptide. It's called GHKCU. You can look that up on Google or Brave or whatever browser you're using. It's pretty incredible what GHK copper peptide does. I won't say more. And we know that the X39 is proven to elevate GHK copper peptide, which can reset 4,000 genes in your body to a younger, healthier state. So when people talk about these phototherapy patches being the answer to aging, I can totally get that. I can totally understand that. I mean, myself, I've had so many issues, like I told you, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, you know, I mean, the patches were a godsend for me so I could get back to my Energizer Bunny self. Also helped me with my skin. I used to have zits all over the place and bumps all over my body. I was very embarrassed and probably kept Revlon and Maybelline in business. But I don't really wear too much makeup anymore. Okay, let me just check to see if there's any other questions. Can the patches assist with building presence, and how can it assist with edema, diabetes, and being prevent? Yeah, that's a really long question. You know, with the sacred geometry that we're using, it's actually quite interesting because it can help someone, at least anecdotally, with their feeling present and in the body. Because a lot of people are not grounded in their bodies. And when we use that kidney 1 point on the bottom, sometimes on top of the foot, we'll use like liver 3 or in combination, and it's very, very grounding. And then the brain balancing patch, I call it the brain balance patch, the Eon patch that you can put behind the ear, back here, is very good too because it gets both hemispheres of your brain working together. At least with my brain balancing protocol, I've noticed that. And you get a whole brain approach. So you're not just using left brain or right brain, it's a whole brain. And people get ahas when that happens, like their creativity flows. You know, they kind of get the answer. People have told me they felt luckier, amazingly, when they're using this brain balance protocol. And when you go to patchtrainingteam.com, you can put your name and email address, get on my mailing list, and get that brain balance protocol free. It's a chapter in my book that's been recently updated, so you can get the whole protocol. Let's see, what else? Okay, thank you, yes. All right, so phlegm, stuck behind the throat, can't seem to get rid of it. Any suggestions on the protocol to use? Yeah, phlegm in Chinese medicine has to do with the spleen channel being weak, or it's damp out, or you're eating damp foods in a combination, right? So you want to, in Chinese medicine, get rid of damp foods. So you want to eliminate dairy, cheese, ice cream, fried foods, which are oily. Oily is considered damp. And anything that's too cold too sometimes will cause dampness in people. I do think I have a micro-training video on dampness. So look that one up in the playlist. I'll put that in the comments. So patchtrainingteam.com/micro-training. There we go. So you may have to cut and paste that if that doesn't hyperlink. Yeah, and you'll see the whole bunch of trainings that I've done here. Okay, so which one should you try for your lungs? Definitely the X39 in the center would be really, really good. Bonnie, so glad to catch you live. Dr. Karen, yes, I'm glad to be here as well. Okay, great. I got to run, guys, but it's been great being with you today. Glad I could take a few minutes to talk about these protocols. And yes, please feel free to share these to whoever you think might be helped by them. That would be really great. We want people to feel better, right? And there's so many natural ways of feeling better besides what we already know. So use the the philosophies and the 5,000-year-old practice of Chinese medicine with modern technology, in this case the phototherapy patches, to activate those points as well as do those specific jobs that we know the patches do. And you can get a lot better a lot quicker in my experience. All right, thank you so much, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. Remember to share.